Website navigational elements are the navigational menus of your website and how people can browse around and find different things on your website when they arrive there. This is really, really important because this relates to the user experience. Now, Google wants to ensure that there's a high quality user experience. It doesn't want people to get to your website and then be lost and not be able to find their way around. The navigation on your website is going to signify some of the most important elements of that site. What you link to on the top and what people can do as far as browsing around the site are going to be an important factor as it relates to your on-page SEO. So optimizing anything starting from the website up is going to be important when it relates to the navigational elements. So we want to be able to make sure that people can get around easily. They're not going to get lost. This is also where sitemaps kind of come into play. But, for the first part, we have to ensure that people can get to the different very important sections of your website quickly without a lot of fuss. So when a person arrives on your website, you want them to be able to find whatever is important up here at the top. Now, the home, the consulting and services, conferences, for example, on this is distill.net, blog and resources, about, contact. These are the important pages that they have put at the top of their website in the navigational element. Now, there's also a search up here, which will allow people to find whatever they're looking for. Now, on this page, there are some resources as well. So this is kind of their subcategory or sub navigation. Now, this basically talks about how important the navigational structure is to Google. You want to be able to set up a navigation that's going to be easy to understand for people. And if you do drop-down menus, you want to make sure that those are HTML accessible drop-down menus, because not everybody will be able to see them. And again, this comes down to your user experience. So you have to ensure that your navigation is a universal navigation, that everybody's going to be able to see it. Now, today that also relates to mobile. So if somebody's coming on a mobile device, or they're coming on a tablet, or they're coming on a desktop, you want a uniform navigational experience. You don't want a person on mobile to not be able to navigate your menus because they're not working on mobile. So that's an important factor to keep in mind. Now, other things that relate to the navigational elements are, for example, breadcrumbs. Now, we see breadcrumbs in a lot of different places. Breadcrumbs are a way to jump back and forth in different sections. For example, to go back in, let's see here on Lowe's, for example, the example that they're showing on distill.net, you have home appliances, refrigerators, French door refrigerators. This is a breadcrumb navigation. So they will allow you to jump back and forth into different sections quickly. So this is also pretty important. Now, when you have something like WordPress installed, this is kind of set up for you as long as you are putting in that option. This is really, really important to do. So you have to ensure that you have properly set up breadcrumb navigations and a header that makes sense. And another thing to keep in mind is you want the header, the navigation part here, to not be so big. For example, this is relatively small compared to the page. Now, why is that important? Because this relates to the fold of the website. The website fold is where it gets cut off here at the bottom. Now, Google is really concerned with what people can see above the fold, so above where it gets cut off. This is all really important. So this is a guide to site navigation. As you can see here, they have the title as well, and you can see a lot of information on this page because the header isn't very, very big, which is really, really important. So keep that in mind. If you have a website or you're designing a website now, you don't want to have a header that's very, very big because it's going to limit what you can see above the fold. So you don't want to have too much stuff get cut off, because remember, you might also have an image here. You might have an ad or something like that. Now, you don't want to bog it down too much at the top. So that's going to be really, really important when we're optimizing for on-page SEO. These are important things to keep in mind And if you have some sort of influence over what happens at the top here, then you have to ensure that you have a thin header and that your navigational structure makes sense if you want Google to be happy with your website.